welcome to Strumming with Christopher. I'm Christopher Gallegos with Monterey County Free Libraries, Gonzales Branch. So, we've been discussing various jazz approaches and techniques, and in a previous video I talked to you about triads. So tri means three, like a triangle, right? And a triad is a three-note chord, and in this context I'm showing you triads that use these thinner strings. So the high E, B, G, sometimes the D string. We're leaving a lot of these big chunky bar type chords out for a second. And in jazz, triads are cool because you might have a full band playing behind you, a bass player, a piano player, a real heavy duty drummer, and you can add some color to a song by playing these smaller, kind of higher pitched chords without overwhelming the band with these big bassy chords that you play if you were just on your own, for example. But they're also good for melodic uses. If you don't want to think about a bunch of scales and such, you can play something like I played in the beginning. You're playing a shape, but you can play it in a melodic way, or you can play it in a rhythmic way. So I talked about major triads, and now I want to talk to you about minor triads. So you can have a well-rounded set of shapes you can move around on these high strings, as well as all these other chords we've talked about, the major sevenths, etc. So let's get into it. So there's two shapes I want to share with you today, minor triad shapes. And the first one, as I am wont to do, we'll start around fret 5, okay? And it's a cool little shape, almost looks like a little staircase, something like that. So go down to fret 5, and with our index finger, we're going to fret the high E string, 5th fret. Going to use our middle finger on fret 6 on the B string. Go up to the G, fret 7. So you have this little kind of staircasey shape there. And that is our first minor triad shape. And like all these other chord shapes I've been showing you, you can move this shape around. You're not stuck in any one spot. So say I was just to go down real quick, these are all minor triads. Start from the top. You see how you can move it around? So to complement that, there's a second minor triad shape you can use in a jazz context or any other context really. And this one will utilize the D as well. Okay. So this one, a little bit of a different approach to what we've done before, but shouldn't be that hard. So with this one, you might have recalled in past videos I've talked about muting this high E here. Okay, and all that means is if you're not playing a string, but you're fretting the string above it and you don't want it to ring out, you just kind of have your finger touching it, if that makes sense. Instead of letting it sound, you have your finger kind of, you see what I'm doing? So with this shape, again, go down to fret 5. Now with this one, we're going to do something kind of interesting where our index finger is going to kind of mash down two strings here. So in this case, it's going to be the 5th fret on the B string and the G string right here. And we're going to be muting this high E with our finger. And you're going to mash down these two here. So again, B string, G string, 5th fret, mashing these down. And now this next part, you can use your pinky, which I like to do, or your ring finger. It's only a stretch of a fret, but it feels really comfy to use your pinky. Try it and you'll see. So take your pinky, still holding those two strings there on the 5th fret. Take your pinky, move it over to fret 7 on the D string, okay? So you have this little kind of a, you could almost say it's like a reverse bar chord shape, I guess. But remember, muting the high E, you're not playing that, and you have this shape you can move around. Also a minor triad. So same kind of thing, just so you can see how it would sound if you move down. Etc. So what's cool about these two shapes, minor chords, sound real nice, and you can start experimenting with the first shape I showed you, and then moving up to the second shape. Okay, and what you get with that is you get two chords in one very close together, and that's a pivotal approach in jazz. You see some people, I used to do this when I started, you're trying to make your left hand look really flashy and going all over the place, but it's inefficient. So sometimes if you're trying to play something really impressive and your hand is flying all over the place, you're wasting energy. If you're not mentally sharp, sometimes you'll miss a shape. But with these two shapes, for example, these two minor triads, they're very close together. So for example, this first shape I showed you, little staircase down here. To go to the other minor chord shape that I showed you, minor triad, you basically just move your index finger up a little bit, right? Pinky. See what I did there? So sound like this. First shape. Then just kind of slowly move your fingers up, and then you have two chords that sound good together. So. Move it up. So of course you're not stuck to transitioning to chords that are right near each other where you're not moving that much. But it's fun, it's a good way to start. And again, you can strum. Or you can get melodic. You can do a kind of a sweep pick, which is something we haven't talked about, but you're just kind of sweeping the pick down real smoothly. And so you see there's not a lot of wasted movement with your left hand when you're doing these kinds of things. It's very compact, very close together. And just, yeah, start experimenting with that approach where you are moving the shapes around. And once you're comfortable with shape 1 and then going to shape 2, you know, right above each other, try doing maybe this first shape and then move to the shape that utilizes the D string a couple frets over, so like this. You can pick melodically if you want. In my opinion, using these shapes that are real close together on these higher strings, you start to get a really good sense of balance between your left and right hand. They're both kind of doing equal amounts of work. They're just doing different things. A lot of times it's easy to get stuck with really flashy left hand technique and your right hand's just kind of, But with these, it gives you a little bit more freedom. So go back and watch the major triad video and this one and you'll get some ideas. And you can eventually start doing something like using some of the fuller sounding chords we've done with a triad. So for example, A major 7th, or the triad shape we just showed you on the D string. Get melodic. You know, just experiment. That's the whole fun part of all this. But yeah, minor triad shapes. And we continue on the jazz train. I love it. Hope you do too. Thanks everybody. See you next time.